Hello, everyone, and welcome back to HBO's The Last of Us. This time, season 2 is here. Episode 1 has dropped, and we have plenty of talk about too with spoilers. So hang tight and endure and survive. Hi, everyone, I'm Ronan Unchained, and I have been dreading this for a long time in both the best and worst way possible. But the hit HBO show is back. The beloved franchise is returned with a swing, and I I need a therapy session, spoilery, if you will. So, but I can't do it alone. So I want to welcome my whole cast with it. Muchachos, get in here. Samuel Leggett, Busy Braun, Ty, and Jor-Els Alexandria here to talk to you about The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 1. Spoilers. If you have not seen the episode, please go ahead and go watch it. It is worth the watch. And then come back, hang out with us as we dissect it and maybe even talk about how close it stayed to the game and how much different it differentiated. But yeah, boys, if I have not recovered yet. And I want to start off with everybody else around me to see how, in spoiler fashion, how do we feel after this episode and taking it all in. So let's start with Busy first.
I mean, very nostalgic, man. I know the game didn't drop like a decade ago, but it's still, just everything about it, whether it was the music, just seeing like Joel and Ellie again, even though like we didn't even get the first season that long ago. It was just really cool to be back and knowing where things kind of end up. It was kind of good to have an episode that, even though it was a little stressful at times, didn't have certain moments that I know are going to stress me out even more. So it was a little bit of a nice to be back type of moment, and I had fun with it. I thought it was great.
Nice. Sam?
Yeah. For me, I was pondering how they were going to execute, the nonlinear style of how the game is done. One, I knew for a fact the first season did a great job of executing the first game, but the second game is so filled. I was like, there's no way they can do this in one season, let alone for 7 episodes. So I was like, they have to probably do this linear or differentiate what it means to do it non-linear. And that means there's going to be pockets of time that we just don't know how they're going to handle it. And there's also a 5-year gap. And the fact that it started immediately from where it left off, and then it kept in that same exact pocket of time to show, Abby communicating with her crew. And this is not something we ever actually got with the game. It was a really interesting change of pace that I actually enjoyed because, yes, this is taking place in a displated point in time, but it allows me to breathe a little bit better and to get an understanding of this is what this is going to be. So if it's a person that's played the game or not played the game, they know why she's doing the things that she's doing up front. We don't know the context. We don't know who he's hurt, but I actually love the execution of that. Everything else about the episode, absolutely like Busy said, it's nostalgic, but it's the execution of how they did it that I couldn't believe it. Like from a visual standpoint, I can't believe how well they executed all those things. And they also added little threads. I mean, Joel being in a state of denial when at the same time he's trying to do better with the therapy, with the small little gestures, with the moment with Dina. Those small little character building things we didn't get in the game. And I just love how they fleshed it out in this episode. But I have a lot more to say, specifically about Abby and the execution of it with this episode.
Nice. Jor-El?
Okay. I thought it was a pretty strong premiere. Definitely not bad. I'm still I it wasn't really that long ago that I watched the episode, so I'm still processing the episode. I don't have a real like definitive opinion about it yet, but it's definitely good to great for sure. There's a lot of ground covered, which is great because the second game is gargantuan. But I don't know. I feel good to grade on it. It was a good opener for the season for sure.
Nice. And Ty?
Oh, I'm sorry. You were looking for me. I was actually researching a therapist because I need therapy after watching this first episode because it was so epic. Um, I do love the fact that they, like Sam said, they started right after the end of season one. They get right into it. I have a theory about this season and how it ties to the game, but I will talk about that a little later. But for me, I stand by what I said. This episode was S tier level. And that is not just because I was excited for the season to come back, but this first episode gave us a lot and also showed how much it lines up with the experience of the second game, but also the different things, the things that are different from the second game, which I actually think are vital, but that'll go into my theory later. I give it back to you, Ronan.
Uh-oh. This is the part
He
where Ronan
lost him.
I was about to go ahead, Ronan.
No. To me, it's just the structure. I've been telling y'all and the boys here that like the structures was like cracking my brain around. Like they're taking stuff that does start off how the game starts, and yet giving us more context that we didn't have as people who have played the game beforehand, and bringing up stuff that would take us later down the line. And I think it's almost poetic how they're trying to echo how the first season started, where it didn't start where Sarah gives Joel the watch. It starts off the whole day before that, and I think it's very, very fascinating to see that layout being played out. And I'm wondering how much more they're gonna spend with developing Jackson, because they hinted at stuff that wasn't, again, privy to us beforehand. And I'm very interested to see how people take away from it and think we're ahead of the story, or we're not ahead of the story.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to piggyback off of that. So, we saw some things that they threw in the trailer alone that they didn't necessarily have in the game. And so we know that they're stretching this game out into more than one season, but we also know that, since they're doing that, they're going to have to maybe add some things, maybe to make things more compelling. And I'm assuming all of you watched the trailer, right? Because I don't want to dive into
Yes.
things, I mean,
I've been covering it.
Game. We're
Yeah.
talking about the game in this anyway, so you're good.
So there's a scene that we saw where we have the like clickers, all these zombies, if you will, rushing the walls like it was Winterfell. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that didn't happen in the game. There wasn't a full out war for them, protecting the walls of Jackson against all of these monsters, if you will. So I mean, it's gonna be really interesting to see how they kind of throw that into the mix. And I think with the whole piping and the way that the cordyceps are growing in there will directly affect some more action that we're going to be getting. And I mean, I think that kind of goes off of what they were talking about with Joel kind of expanding the walls, or whatever they were talking about with him and Maria. So I mean, there's going to be some crazy crap going down, and even us people who aren't familiar with the games are going to be having some new content. I mean, people who are familiar with the games are going to have even more content to enjoy, if you will.
No, I do want to add to that, because with the root, in the pipe, I was kind of like, man, like they're never truly safe. Like when you play the game, like Jackson feels untouchable in certain sense, right? Like outside of what we lost in one of our favorite characters, like, they still feel good. Like it's not an issue, right? But this is the first time it brought me back to the old Walking Dead days, where you're like, man, you feel like everybody's good. We got it all together. Like, nah, the drinking water is poison. Nah, like if you die, you're gonna be turned. Like I love that they're adding this other layer to it. And even in the trailer, you know, cordyceps. Like I don't know what they're gonna do, but I love that they're making nothing feel safe, kind of.
Yeah.
They kind of off put that in the very first episode. So it's weird. Like for us gaming fans, they gave us all the specific things that we needed, right? Structurally, they're adding certain things that make us concerned and want to care. And then at the same time, they're expanding characters. Because to me, the biggest thing that I feel like worked the best in this episode is they expanded Joel in extensions that I didn't think that they would, right? And with Abby, she wasn't in the episode a lot, but the way that they treated it, I kind of wish that her story started like that. Because conditionally, I was like, man, who's this chick? I don't want to play with this girl. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm having to do this after what she's done. Now it's like, dang, who did Joel kill? Because they introduced two different people that we know that Joel killed. The therapist's husband, Eugene, and whoever Abby's, you know, father is. Like, if you're a non-gamer, it's like, dang, yeah, Joel is a piece of dirt. Like, he's killed some people and he's paid for it. But the transgressions of that, now you're seeing that fruit. And I love how they introduced that idea in the first episode.
I kind of feel like the setup was even greater too. I mean, that this might be my personal opinion, but like with the game, when we're playing as Joel and we're like escaping the prison, we know we have to put down a lot of people, but you don't really think about it from that point of view. You're just like, these people are shooting at me, we shoot back. You know, it's pretty simple. But the way they portrayed it in the season 1 finale, it felt a lot more personal. Like it wasn't just they're shooting at me, we're shooting back. He went out of his way to take down each individual to make sure that there was no one running after him. You know what I'm saying? Like it felt so much more personal, which is why I feel as though when it does come to that point, again, I know we're not saying too much, but like it'll make things a little more understandable from more understandable from Abby's point of view, which again, I'm not saying I agree with what she did, but it makes things understandable in a sense when you see how much more brutal it kind of felt in the finale of season 1.
Yeah, and you see, I love that. Like again, the first thing is like okay, and then the seconds are right after it, and it stays on Joel's face of like okay, she took it, but the burden already is melting in. Oh Jesus!
Oh my God!
The burden is already in his face. I know. And I love that, you know, we kind of finally just addressed it of what is Abby's angle going into this season, and how now she's almost like a gray dark cloud hovering around the sky and slowly making its way to Jackson. And I like that perspective. And yeah, man, like to me, one as a fan or gamer would think of these ideas. What was those 5 years like as him as a whole, as an individual, as a man, as part of a community, and to see these sprinkles out was just like the stuff that like we didn't know we wanted, but we wanted. And you see his angle with Eugene's widow, the Kaitlyn Harris character.
Yeah, Mrs.
And
McAllister.
how even in the post-apocalyptic world, it's still like, don't tell people that I'm seeking therapy, which is it's okay thing to do, but like again, wow, perspectives from the past into the future now. And the more I've been thinking about the plumbing scenario and how the angle of accepting strangers or not, and how it's justified and how it's economically good or not. I love that Maria and Joel had the discussion, and I had heard about this discussion during the South by Southwest coverage for the show, and I was very intrigued to see how it was going to play out. And I love that the foundation, no pun intended, of it is that like plumbing. We need more plumbing. We need more stuff to do. If you want me to build it as fast as I can, I need more hands and I need more tools. But when you look inside the tools, the plumbings almost represent what the cordyceps represent to planet Earth. It's spreading. It's all over. Plumbing is all over a town, all over streets, all over houses. And now those connections are infected in a manner of speaking, or in a way, they are infected. And so, how's that going to help out for this community? And yeah, I love that it's not just people you've been following, it's also a way of living that now it has an infection going on, and whether they can find the cure or the resolution to combat it in the coming stories and be very intriguing for me.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, what did y'all? So, I mean, I guess if we're talking about deviations from the game, because I feel like it'd be good to talk about the deviations and then talk about the things that within the game that they're getting right, or which you guys maybe feel they're getting wrong. I mean, the first deviation to me is Kaitlyn O'Hara's character. In my personal opinion, if you guys can disagree, I feel like this is the best acted scene in the entire episode to me. The way that she knows Joel, dismantles Joel, and at the same time, she allowed herself to be vulnerable with her hate to hope for him to have no excuse to be honest. And it was so much invoking emotion that I was like, that's an Emmy-worthy scene. I'm not saying the whole episode was, but their conversations and the way that they handled the dynamics of it was just amazing to me. And it was weird because the thing about Joel, like, yes, like we know that he loves Ellie. Yes, we know that he feels justified in his decision to do the way he did it. But we also know this man's dealing with untapped trauma that he still has yet to deal with about his own daughter. And so when you see somebody finally start to truly break, but then pull back because they know what that actually means, I thought it was just amazing. But I was curious y'all's perspective on, was this new character, or not new character, this character addition and the way they're handling Joe's therapy, not necessarily his redemption, but his evolution until he gets to his end. What did you guys think about it?
I mean, it's one way to get us more vulnerable to everything, specifically because we're knowing about what's going on more in the now, if you will, compared to I feel like we didn't get as much of him when we jumped into the future, at least in the beginning, excuse me, for the opening of the game. So I don't know, to dive into him, like, because like personally going into the them adapting part 2, I was curious on how they were going to kind of have Pedro Pascal's character, or him as a whole, stick around without it feeling super forced or whatever. Because knowing the route that they go, it's like, okay, he's like a big powerhouse. You can't just wipe him off. So how are we going to have him stick around as long as we possibly can? And I think that they did a really good job with making him, I don't know how to say this. Like, I don't want to say relevant, but like still very important to what's happening. And they did that with having him have a relationship with Dina's character.
Yeah.
And because that kind of came out of nowhere, and I really appreciated that. I think it really works. And then, of course, just more interaction and more build up to that final scene where he ends up pushing the guy that kind of stepped on or stepped towards Ellie in the first place. Which the actor that did that at the end, he looks super familiar. It's been killing me for like since we watched the episode.
Yeah, he's played in a lot of different things over
Yeah.
the years. I think he was a cop in some movie.
I think that's what I'm thinking of, but it's like it's in my head. I can't like I just can't do it.
Yeah, I can't think of his name. I think he was in Rescue Me, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think that's where I know him from. It's like killing me because I feel like it's something I've rewatched multiple times.
Some movie he was a cop in, and I just don't remember it. I know what you mean. But no, I think that's a good point. Because, I mean, even with the Dina thing, we talked about it, right, Ronan? It was kind of like, we know that Ellie and Dina are going to end up together. We know they're going to end up in a house together. But it's kind of like, how did that, I mean, we're talking about everything. It's kind of like, how do those dynamics work? How did she know how to take care of a home? How does she know how to take care of certain things? And like Joel is the anchor to this whole entire thing, like literally the foundation. And it's kind of like them adding those little breadcrumbs make it believable where we're going to end up. So I think you're right on the money, Ronan. But Go ahead. I'm sorry, busy. Go ahead, Renner.
To me, I think maybe the therapist scene is the best one. To me, the one I love the most and that I took away from it was between him and Dina, because I think in a way Joe was making sure that the people around Ellie, who she is talking to, are good people, are reliable people, people that he can maybe trust to like be there for her, even if she doesn't want him to be there for him. And I found that so touching. And man, I want to say something that's close towards the end, but I think I should hold my bite my tongue for it. But let's just say that when Joe brings up an element in Ellie's life, now that she's maturing, growing up, I think this scene, and I don't think this is the first scene between Joe and Dina, that scene almost reassured him that like Ellie on her own as an individual, as a woman, will be okay. It's just that he's still much like any, not gonna cry, as any father figure or any parent wants. And I've seen this more now with people who go off to colleges and people who move out, that like parents want to hold out as much as they can to that connectivity because they know eventually the kid's gotta grow up. But with Joel, what's more messed up is that he lives in a post-apocalyptic world. He lost his daughter the day of, and he never got to see his own daughter grow up. So he's not prepped for this, which is why, Catherine O'Hara, oh yeah, she acting so distant and grunty like almost any other young adult teenage kid is. And I just, that scene really like laid out. I'm like, oh man, if this context with this scene, with what I know of the game and how he feels about Ellie's personal life, it was so reassuring and just added layers to it. And again, shout out to Isabella. I think she honors Shannon Woodward work as Dina in this episode alone. I instantly got the Dina vibe, the way she smiles, the way she laughs, her behavior, her mannerisms. Like it is almost the same vibe I got when I saw Bella chained up with the Fireflies from episode 1 of season 1. I'm like, oh shoot, she got Ellie for me. And yeah, folks. I mean, the almost a confession scene between Joel and Tommy, we got that in season 1. We already got that, so they were kind of echoing that with the therapy session. But we're getting a whole day in Jackson, and it's on New Year's Eve. So Kat is in this episode again. Deep nerdy stuff that like if you know who Kat is in the world of The Last of Us, you know how connective that element is. That it's only found in notes or in future downloadable levels if you got the remastered version. And so yeah, that's an element. But I'm gonna let the other boys talk before I start rambling on more.
So for me, what I find interesting for this is Joel is basically in a mindset where he's failed twice, right? He lost his daughter at the opening of the apocalypse, if you will. And now he has put all that effort, all those feelings, all those emotions and everything as a parent into Ellie. And at the very end, he does what I believe any parent would do, even though it was the wrong thing to do. And he's now making up for those decisions. So now, as was said, he's in a post-apocalyptic world, and the only connection he has, the only thing that gives him any kind of solace, or the only person that kind of gives him any form of hope in this world, wants nothing to do with him at all. As we saw, even when he was being his innate father figure self and pushing the dude that tried to burden his religious beliefs on Ellie and Dina, even with all that, she was not grateful, and she basically told him why even she didn't ask for his help. So in essence, he's failed twice. Now, what I will say about the show so far, I I do love the part with the psychiatrist, with therapist, because she in a way is inadvertently using Joel as somewhat of a coping mechanism in terms of doing her duties as a therapist, but at the same time laying out the line when it comes to her position with Joel, which I find to be a very interesting dynamic, and I think she handles it really, really well. But what I want to also add for the theory is, as a gamer, as someone who has seen this game, interacted with this game, played this game, there are pieces that I believe were missing from the game that's in this show, at least even in the first episode. There are things that I would have loved to seen in the game that I am now seeing in this show. And it really focuses for me, not just the relationship with Joel and Dina, because that actually is a profound move for them to give Joel more connections to Jackson than what we saw in the game. But it's really focused for me. My attention is focused right now on Abby, because I think the way they're going to go with, or at least what they've shown so far in this first episode, how they're going with Abby, I wish they did that in the game. I want to go into it more, but I'm going to leave it right there for the moment.
Oh man, that's damage. But yeah, go ahead, Jor-Els.
All
Yeah,
right.
not even
I think we were talking about, I guess, our favorite deviations from the game, but for me, it's probably when it's Dina and Joel talking to each other inside the house, and he's like working on some hardware or something like that, and he kind of casually teaches her some stuff. That whole sequence, I thought, at least consistently speaking, was a fantastic new addition to, I guess, the lore, I suppose. That I thought was genuinely great. It was also just a pretty delightful introduction for Dina, played by Isabella, perfectly, almost perfectly, pretty much perfectly cast for Dina. So I would choose that one. Probably second place would be the therapist sequence.
Yeah, it was something that I caught when I was looking for pictures, and I didn't realize that this scene right here from the first season is a callback to seeing Ellie with Tommy out there shooting. I didn't even put two and two together. And I was like, because even watching, because I was like, oh, okay, who's she out there shooting with? Like, what time and place was this? And then to see her, like, kind of getting a good handle on, reading the sniper rifle, but then the moment that she just chose not to listen to Tommy, and I was like, oh, I wonder if they're gonna play this in. And I think the thing that I'll say about this episode is they didn't waste any time. Like, it was like, okay, this is how you're gonna be. This is what the result's gonna be. Because the moment that Tommy was like, yeah, you should go and be on this run, even though he knew she shouldn't, I was like, I know where this is going. But I was like, oh, we're going to get to this to the next episode. No, she's immediately going to be cornered by the worst type of, I love that they didn't waste any time. It's callbacks, but then they don't waste any time with how they're progressing this episode at all. The whole 60 minutes felt like I don't really feel like any moment was a wasted of time. And I've seen that in certain episodes last season where I was like, but I didn't feel any waste of time. I kind of wanted more, to be quite honest with you, but
The barn house scene, Ellie training in Fight Club, like that to me was like, okay, that kind of makes sense, because as a gamer and what she's been through the first game, I kind of knew she could hold her own, and maybe in time she would watch karate, kung fu movies, and maybe she'd want to learn that. But the fact that they put that in place, that way, when shit gets worse and worse and worse, which I'm giving you a heads up for tissues and whatnot, it's gonna get worse. That like we know that like, okay, she's been looking to for Muay Thai and mixed martial arts as a way, and not just worrying about a gun and a knife to take care of herself. So I love that they use that sequence. And again, introducing Jesse, I was like, enough, and be like, I told them to hold back because if not, your nose is bleeding. Look at you, and imagining your old man, Joel, and say like, don't do that again. And it's fascinating. Her friends are asking, I'm like, what's wrong with you two? Dina, like, why is Ellie mad at you? And it's like, I can't tell you. It's like, I've told enough people already. Like the more people know, the more dangerous it's gonna get. Yeah, and then again, Dina and Ellie on horses, Shimmer, and then you see how that plays out in the game the next day, but they bring it up for day. I call it day zero, if you will, of the story. And Joel checking in on her about the guitar. I'm like, we'll get some strings for you. And it's like, it's fascinating the elements they're taking from stuff we know and putting it in here. But it's again adaptation.
Yeah.
Some stuff I think I like it the way it was in the game, but some stuff I'm like, this already feels way better digesting the story than it was for me to revisit the game the second time.
No, for sure. So let's go ahead and get into inclusions then. Stuff that was in the game and they put into this show, and how you guys' perspective on their execution of it. I mean, down to even like the characters they introduced when we first saw Abby and the other Fireflies, and what that means. So, I mean, anything that you guys want to talk about, whether execution with the stuff that was included from the games that you guys remember. I mean, the easy thing to talk about is the aesthetics, the look. As soon as we see Jackson, I was like, is this real? Did they actually build this freaking set?
Yeah.
When we got to the barn scene, like the dance, I swear it looks so perfect that I just could not truly believe it.
4K.
Yeah, I got a quick one. It's a very quick one, But there's a moment where I think God, was it Jesse? I think Jesse's like outside the door or something, and she's about to walk outside, but I can't remember who was outside the door. But she goes to walk outside and she grabs the knife from like the stab into the top of the dresser, and there's a bunch of knife marks. There's something like literally almost verbatim that happens in the game, and that part freaked me out because it was almost like a perfect jigsaw match, setting into place. Who was outside? Was it Jesse or
I think it was Dina.
Or was it Dina? Okay,
it's Dina.
But yeah, that little small moment, even though fleeting, that made me really happy because it was just a clever little thing to like just sneak in there.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Because again, like even down to their clothes at the dance, I was like tucking around.
Yeah, that's perfect.
The exact same freaking clothes.
Perfect.
Yeah. This is something I definitely love Naughty Dog for. They literally approach it with, hey, we have the content. Just give people what they want. We got Jackson as we know it. But it's the details. I mean, even the details of the truck, the details of the market sign, everything about this show it's like somebody just reached in and pulled it right out of the game. And that's what I love Naughty Dog for. Naughty Dog does not allow for like crazy interpretation or crazy change when it comes to the transition of their game to media in terms of like a show. It's one of the biggest problems we've seen with games that go from a game to a movie or a game to a show. They have mastered it. And I think it also bodes to the fact that they're telling an epic story. And when you have an epic story, you don't need to do much transitioning it from game media to actual show media. The party, even the overhead lights in the at the New Year's party, everything was well done. Even the scenes where you have that moment of silence between Joel and Ellie, when he's sitting outside of the house. I mean, it's like the tension. It's the things that you got in the game you actually get out of the show too, and I absolutely love it. But right, you see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? It literally
man.
feels like it. You could if you could literally put a game scene over that, and it's literally almost the same thing. It's just absolutely epic, and I think that's kudos to the actors, kudos to Naughty Dog for making sure that what is replicated from the game is true to form. I mean, every little detail. Kudos to HBO for letting them do this stuff and not trying to put their own way in, but letting the story be told as it has been. Kudos to them for it. Every little detail that, I mean, I'm just going to say it, even down to the stalker. I mean, everything was just like, oh my God, the suspense, the thrill, the everything you got in the game, everything you got, even with the addition of things like the pipe with the cordyceps, everything gives you the same feeling as when you picked up that controller, popped in Last of Us Part 2, and you know what you were getting into. And kudos to them for it. I can't speak highly about it enough. It's just S tier level.
To me, one moment that much like Jor-El with the knife being on the wooden stalk and whatnot. God damn. Anyways, it's the wolf. It's wolf. Never mind. That to me the biggest, like, almost in a cute way, like F you, to be like, oh yeah, we're fans here, just to let you know, is when Dina and Ellie go stalk the that little market.
Stop.
And she looks at the employee of the month wall, and there's a dog. And again, as gamers, we had to do that just to find a combination lock. Then put a puzzle in the middle of a sequence where you know something's gonna happen, and like figure it out if you want more bullets or medicine or whatever. And the fact that they did that as a story element of saying, you know, Dina and Ellie are kidding around, like, how are you gonna kill these clickers? No, how are you gonna do it? And like, no, I'm gonna do combo stealth. And it's like, no. That shot of her looking at it is like, no, this place used to be living. People used to be here. Don't, even when you're, you know, checking for infected, don't kid around. Like, it's a good, like, feet on the ground reminder of, like, this used to be a thriving place with people in it. And again, layers upon it. And can I just mention the bottles? Like what have we been saying? Like, fucking a season I had to wait for a bottle to be thrown and lay the foundation of the most simplistic form of combat tool in the games from the first game in season 1 that they didn't bother doing it. The fact that Ellie tossing a bottle made me giddy up of, like, validation for the name of the title of this podcast. Like, it was, that's how you know I'm a nerd. And that's, you know. And then I don't know if you want to talk about the stalker, but just, yeah, that just blew my mind.
Oh yeah, we definitely got to talk about the stalker and the execution of the stalker, because the way that they handled that, right? Like, she falls down and she's down there, and it's like, oh, okay, you hear something. It was the subtleness of the camera angles where all of a sudden you're like, what? The Spider-Man is crawling through the walls, and every small little corner she would go past, you see something slowly creeping up. And it's a combination of great VFX and a good person that has got good acrobatics in the way.
Yes. Kudos to that person.
There's practical applications to how they handled being a stalker. Like, it almost came perfectly from the game. I ain't gonna say I was terrified, but I was like, I can't believe they're doing it this well. I didn't think that they'd be able to execute it like that. And I mean, it wasn't even so much for the look of it. It was that it was so different. and it wasn't something that Ellie was prepared for, and she freaking got bit. Like I don't know. It was almost near perfect the way they built tension with that, and I can imagine somebody that didn't play the games. I don't know how they felt about that scene. I think that's the most interesting part. But I don't know. What would y'all's take on the Stalker and execution?
I'm gonna add to that real quick. I'm not gonna take up time, but I'm gonna add to that. It's everything that you said, Sam, especially about the Stalker, but it's also the camera work. It and the vision of the director to introduce the Stalker in that manner, because we're expecting it, and for anyone else or any other director, I could see them just letting it be like a typical jump scare, where the Stalker just pops out on you. But we got multiple scenes where at the very last moment of a shot, and this is what I loved about the introduction of the Stalker, at the very last moment of a shot, before you change it, Stalker just kind of pops out in the background, in a blurred background. You just see something move because you're waiting for it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wow. And that for me, that was probably one of the best intros of a new character. Like this was just phenomenal, because and there's actually my favorite shot is there's a scrolling shot, a sliding shot this way, where the camera's moving, and just before the background goes out, you see a little pop-up of something in the background, and then it still continues, but it's like you question it, and then you're like, oh, and then they do it again in another version. Everything you said, Sam, including the vision of how the camera work was done to introduce that character, I had to add that. That, to me, was S-tier level work.
For sure. Jor-El or Busy?
Yeah, the Stalker scene was what was pretty significant moment in the episode. That was one of my biggest pros, actually, from the episode, because there was a real genuine sense of tension, or like unease, or just not to mention the fucking thing is just creepy. So yeah, that was handled well. The speed of that thing, get out of here. No way. But yeah, no, I thought it was a great scene. That was one of my biggest pros for sure.
Oh my god, I don't know why I found that picture, but Busy.
So yeah, I mean, I
Are
think
you
that's
okay, Rona? Rona, are you okay?
Oh my god.
If, I'm telling y'all, you know what? Look at me. If you couldn't handle the Stalkers, all I'm gonna say is shamble.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Ronan. We're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
Yeah,
I mean, as for what we've gotten so far, this was a pretty terrifying scene. It was just, it's always great when you can find someone who's super dedicated to a role. Obviously, the way the movements were just terrifying on its own, and I don't know. I think just the subtle lighting we had in the shot, especially with the way that they were Spider-Manning around the room. It was just it was terrifying, but I think they did a really, really good job with it. They've added there's so many different variations of the zombies, if you will. So it's just always interesting to see how, especially live action, how they kind of make that work, and they do a really good job with it every single time they do it. So I think this is another example.
Yeah. Anything else you guys feel like they kept or included that we haven't talked about yet?
The bear.
Oh.
I was hoping somebody was going to bring it up, but come on. The bear.
Well, yeah, I mean the bear, that was just like, again, it's a weird experience, just like season 1, where you've experienced it before. You were holding the DualShock controller riding the horse, and you noticed something got eaten that was too big of an animal to be eaten by just a regular clicker. And again, even stuff like the music, there's tracks that are right out of Part 2 soundtrack. It's a couple of songs from the first game and from season 1, but then you hear the Crooked Stills music that's playing during the party dance, and again, you never know when stuff is going to be altered and kept. And season 1 added to the soundtrack of the game's lore, but this one, like, it was just so joyful to hear similar stuff and just being played out. It's a dynamic that I think is rich and yet different from what most regular viewers go, where like you're experiencing stuff that you love, but in a way that it's out of your control. So you don't know when it's gonna cut to black. You never know if a sound effect is gonna go, and just man, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know. The list goes on. I mean, Jesse, Maria, her entanglement. It's the council, seeing how it's Ellie saying they're like stalkers, if you will, and just letting people know, no, there's a whole ecosystem to the infected, to the cordyceps fungus, and it's this is part of the evolution.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this scene right here was literally exactly the same. It didn't change at all.
Yes,
down to the verbiage, down to the mannerisms. I was like, do you guys study the game or do you guys study the the script? And somebody, because it was nearly perfect. Even the actress playing the role of Dina, the way she handled it, in the wrong hands, that could have felt forced or too goofy or too out of place. It was almost, I ain't gonna say it's better than how they handled it in the game, but it was good. It was just as good. Dude,
also, Gustavo, can I just say Gustavo?
Hey.
Like, I was looking for him in the exterior shot of Jackson in the daylight, and I'm like, where's Gustavo? Where's the dog? And then as that dance hits, you just see him playing his banjo, and I was like, yes! I was like, oh, that was good. Bueno vete, tío Gustavo.
Yeah.
I will say I won't get deep into this because we're already approaching like the hour mark. So I'll save this for my own review. But just add a little spice. Okay. Here's my thing. So that moment where they're dancing, right? Dina and Ellie. I mean, it's borderline perfect. And I think Bella is a brilliant performer, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been ruminating about season 1 a lot. I've been thinking about it a lot over all these months, And I'm not even gonna lie to you. I had seen something on social media, and I said, oh no. And I thought about it for a few months. And for me personally, I think that Bella is a great Ellie, but I don't think that I like seeing the post of saying like, Bella is perfect for Ellie. I would disagree. Personally, hot take, I think Kaylee Spaney, if it was up to me at least, is almost like a creepy perfect choice. And what's even weirder about this, I feel like I spoke about this. So anyway, what's weird about this is that they even worked together in Alien Romulus, Isabella and Kaylee Spaney. Weirdly, it's very bizarre. It's almost as if in some other alternate universe, God is giving me a wink like this happened. But anyway, Bella's great, but I especially during that dance moment, I was like, oh God, I just wonder if it could have been better if Kaylee was there, which we'll never know, but unless they do like a film adaptation, but we'll never know. So that's been an interesting. But on the flip side, I think that Pedro is almost creepily perfect as Joel. So this is a very odd thing I'm trying to wrestle with. But that did affect my premiere watch in some ways, even though great episode.
She's looking at you, Jor-Els. She's looking at you.
Well, I'm worried about her too, but it looks like she can act. So, hey.
You know what? You know what's creepier, Jor-El? That Fede Alvarez, the director of Alien Romulus, was playing Part 2 when he wrote Romulus and said, how How about I make my character pregnant that I'm casting Isabella? Oh, by the way, she's cast as Dina, who, it's a weird. I remember as soon as I get out of Romulus, I saw shots. I'm like, that looks like part 2. And then the minute that stuff went online, I saw you, and I'm like, I know Jor-Els would have wished something else. But can I go after what he said about Pedro as Joel?
Sure.
Dude, I don't know if you'll see in the reaction. I don't know how I'm doing by then, but like, it broke my heart. See, yeah. I'm not denying it. She does look like Ellie, and she did a performance in Romulus. But I digress. With Joel and Pedro, having Bella yell at him, "I don't fucking need your help," or whatever she said, and the look on Pedro, that was another moment of like he got the cheat code. He told Troy, "Hey Troy, how do you do this? He goes, you do this, and you got it." And it was heartbreaking to know that experience. And like, I was, again, I'm gonna sound such like a nerd. I was looking for Esther. For those who don't know who that is, in the lore of Last of Us, an element that was not in the game, but they were trying to work it on, is that Joel had maybe found someone in Jackson. And Sammy had shown that piece of art before, but there's a piece of art that was made of Joel in a dance that looked similar to that one with somebody. And I was just looking, I'm like, what is Esther here? Is she gonna be part of the shove? Like, what's happening? But yeah, Pedro, just how much humility he was willing to give into those performances and those shots is just commendable. And I feel that people who still don't think of him as a star, he is a star. Por amor de Dios, he is a star. And if they've done right, just by this first episode, that is day 0, and yet stuff from the game that I love, I can't imagine how the scenes that are even my favorites in the game are going to be played out so much better and stronger and just as good as the game, neck to neck, in my opinion. That's my prospect. And again, Sam, this was one of the first 2 images we saw officially out of season 2. It's weird seeing it now played out. I'm like, wow, that was so many months ago, and now we're here. So, yeah.
Yeah, one thing that excites me and scares me all at the same time is that a good amount of the first trailer that we saw in certain scenes, like, they've already gotten out the way in this first episode. I mean, we got 6 more episodes to go, which is not a lot of episodes. But if they put in the same amount of gas with each episode, we could really get something really special. It's just, I don't want to do this, but we did it anyway. Even when we were talking in non-spoiler, is where did they end this? Where did they stop this season? Because there's a scene in the trailer where we see Ellie is tracking down the Fireflies. We see them getting tracked down. And I just don't know if this ends back at a house. I really don't know. Like, it could honestly end with Ellie with Dina at a house, and if somebody's knocking on the door like, "Hey, nah, we can't let that slide." Who are you gonna put up or shut up? Where you at?
Sam, we talked about it. I'm like, Joe's teaching Dina something essential that you could maybe use in a house, and we're like, is this gonna play? Is this gonna like?
I just
Craig has said it.
I don't want to anticipate where this is gonna end, but I kind of feel like the way that they designed this episode, it makes me ponder. We know who's gonna die. We know it's an inevitability. I don't know what episode it's gonna be, but we know it's gonna happen. But how they flow with this, there's still more characters they haven't even introduced yet. So in 7 episodes, I don't know. I have faith in them because of the way they executed this episode. I didn't think they could pull this episode off, to be quite honest with y'all. I mean, it's not to say that I thought it was going to be bad, but I didn't think it was going to be this great, in my opinion. And I think I gave this episode an A. I think most of us unanimously gave it an A. I can't call the first episode a masterpiece, but I think that the way they handled it, because it's non-linear and because it takes place in different segments in time, they handled it with a lot of care. And I just didn't anticipate them going the non-linear route at all safely. And I feel like they didn't play it safe. They played it to the vest. I just don't know how they're going to continue this, to be honest. Do you guys have any trepidations or concerns about the execution, how they're going to go with this? Did you guys have any concerns about how they went back and forth between time? Because I was worried. Like in the moment that I was like, I don't know.
I don't have any concerns of that nature, but I will say I'm gonna call it now. I think I would be shocked if Joel is still alive after the second episode. I'd be shocked. I say he goes down in the second episode.
Why you gotta hurt Ronan like that? Ronan
conspiracy
barely made it through the first episode. Don't say that.
Conspiracy theory, but because he could, that could be, maybe it's the last thing we see in the finale or something. Who knows? But or the first thing we see. Who knows? But I have a sinking feeling. My intuition is just going off.
But how are viewers gonna feel about that? And I mean, I'm asking everybody to answer this holistically. We know how we feel as gamers, but put yourself in the eyes of somebody that your only way of watching the show has been through the first season. I talked to somebody literally at a party today. They were like, I ain't never played those games, but I love that first season, and I can't wait to see what Joel and Ellie are gonna do. And I'm just listening to them. Imagine in the second episode of the show.
I think it's gonna be more devastating than Glenn.
Right.
Because people legit stopped watching the show. And Glenn wasn't like Joel's the character in the show. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
He's the character. And Glenn, I love the man, but like there's Rick, there's Daryl, there's like he was the character. So it's a little different, and I know a lot of people. Like I'm talking to a lot of even old heads, like my friends' parents who are like, yeah, I didn't even know this was based on a video game. I just saw it on television.
Right.
This is a very good show. That Joel guy, he's great, man. He's
love
Pedro, you know. And it's like dog, like, and it's like I don't want to ruin it for them. So I'm like, oh, I'm just saying, like season 2, it's great television, man. Like you're gonna love it, dude. Give it a swing, all right? You're gonna love it.
I'm calling it.
Like, no.
What? God damn it, Busy. Red Wedding. So back to it. It's gonna be that all over again, and I'm calling it now.
Not the second.
Sam, I'm giving you a heads up now. I might pull a U. When that happens.
You gonna walk
I
away?
I might literally have to walk away. Like
I honestly don't know if I want to watch it with Ronan. Because I'm gonna be like so devastated, and I'm gonna have to make sure I gotta condole, like make sure my friend is okay. Because like realistically, like I love good television. I'm gonna get emotional, keep it a buck. But when Ronan watches this, like he's so connected, it's gonna be like maybe as bad as like a sibling dying. Like we're gonna need it.
Me too. Me too. Well, Ronan will definitely be like the worst effect, or at least.
Nah, bro. Like I'm telling you, when we were watching it, he saw Joe holding a guitar, and that shit was like, he was like,
Jesus
like, bro,
Christ!
He's like Ronan, he's just holding a guitar, buddy.
Watch his reaction.
Oh
and this is what makes it so bad, because Ty went through this with me. None of you on.
Bro, I saw your live stream. Bro.
I saw them.
Yeah.
I was up there with Ty, and like the moment that Ellie got ambushed and goes through the door, she just pinned down. And I said, Ellie, get up, Ellie, do something. And I'm just sitting there watching, and I couldn't do a darn thing. Like, It's different watching it right on YouTube or watching it, and you're actually feeling the vibrations of what's actually happening. And you're absolutely nothing you can do. And you're a gamer playing this. There's nothing you can do. Like, it's almost like a cousin getting murdered in front of you. There's nothing you can do about it. Like, I don't know how to really describe it, playing it versus seeing it. And I can't imagine what a normal consumer is going to feel. Because if they connect with that man, right? If Pedro, that's let's keep it a buck. It's not just their minds. There's no distinction between Pedro Pascal and Joel.
Yeah.
If the second episode happens and all of a sudden we watching and Joel's just on the ground and Ellie's pit down, and then they swap back between like time, and everybody's like, wait, what is going on? What happened? Dog, they would like people would have nervous breakdowns.
Okay, well, first off, the problem is that like you keep trying to run away from the pain. Like it doesn't really matter how much they tone down the violence, you can't remove the pain. And the only way for it to work is that it really needs to hurt, so that we can be aligned with Abby directly, and she's not like, oh, who's this person? Now we have like this sole focus on her. Yeah, I think the problem here is that like what you're fearing may have to happen. We'll see what goes on, because it needs to be like something like significantly painful. It needs to be traumatizing, or else that's not the game.
But that's the thing. There are people that can't even play the game because they were so traumatized. There's people that dread going into this second season that were gamers that still have not dealt with the trauma of the actual second game.
Listen, I didn't make the game. I didn't make the show, sir. I didn't make the game. But
let's get this one down to brass tacks, people, because let's keep it real. Should this happen? Once this happens,
yes,
anybody who has been an HBO aficionado watching some of the epic series on HBO, and actually Ronan actually was in my head when he made the comment. This would be Ned Stark all over again. And at the end of the day, as crazy as it was to see Ned Stark go, we made it through 7 great seasons. I will never count 8, but season 8, but we made it through 7 great seasons. But the other thing is, at this point, just cut the Emmys for this dude. There are actors in life that are just born to play roles, right? Ryan Reynolds was destined to play Deadpool. Nathan Fillion, in my opinion, was destined to play Nathan Drake, which didn't happen, but I still think he's the best Nathan Drake ever. And he should have played Green Lantern. Pedro Pascal is destined to play Joel. He's destined to play Joel. There are just people that are made for these roles. And he is, I don't even think he cracked the code. He is the code. I think they just happen to line it up. He is the code. If there is anybody out there who questions this man's superstar capability and status, look at this show. I may with very, very, very slim factors give somebody a point on The Mandalorian, right? Very, very. But if The Last of Us doesn't solidify it with you for Pedro Pascal being a supreme actor, there's nothing anybody can say to convince you otherwise. That man needs to just have a whole cabinet ready for the Emmys he needs to rack up from this show. He is the show. And I think what's going to be epic is that, and if they pull it off well, which I believe Naughty Dog will, is that should this happen and he is not the person anymore, folks will be okay. Folks will be okay. It's going to be hard. But I think based on the content we've seen around Joel and how they've dedicated themselves to the layout of the game, they'll be okay. They'll be traumatized. I will be traumatized. I will be virtually sending Ronan tissues and Kleenex. I will rainforest him some Kleenex to get ready. But because I will be there too. I'll be a grown man in my feelings. But what's going to make it so epic is what they do after that, and I think they're going to pull it. But my concern, going back to Sam's question, is how they're going to do the rest of the characters moving forward post if that happens. It's going to be epic.
It worries me because the Latino community is going to be definitely up in arms during the internet.
Dang.
Like I don't know. Like to me, and my heart is going to go so much to like Kaitlyn Dever, and I'm going to be doing my best as just an individual. I'm like, hey, you don't know who I am, but I'm just sending you hugs because I know you're going to need it after when something happens. And like I feel that like it to me it's not even that stark. It's Red Wedding. That's how brutal it was in the game. And if you're gonna go down this route with this story, it has to be brutal. I don't like it. I mean, I'm still mixed on the story. Like what 5 years afterwards, and I'm still mixed on it. And so I feel like it's gonna hit the internet hard because Pedro is everybody's daddy and people love him. Whatnot. Like it might be worse than the game. And so I tell everybody, I hope the PR team is ready. I hope that security is ready, and just like it's gonna, for better or for worse, it's gonna push HBO on another level of just like, and then it really has to sink in because Ellie has to in that moment realize any anger, resentment she had been holding, like somebody that like again, I'm doing my words, I'm choosing my words right. That like it's gonna be, it has to leave a hole in Ellie's life. Bella has to give that look of like I missed. There's no more time to do stuff. There's no more opportunities still, and so. Yeah, man, I'm dreading it. I was dreading, again, part of the reason why I was freaking out because I didn't know if it was going to happen this episode. We didn't know when it was going to happen. So now it's like, wow, when is it going to happen if it does happen?
Yeah, so Busy, I want your opinion because you've already said that older people, right, that are looking forward to this. You've had to live through this as well. In your opinion, what's going to be the public's how are they going to react, in your opinion? I'm just curious your perspective. Like, I gave my perspective, Jor-Els did, Ty did.
I think there's going to be people that might even stop watching the show, to keep it a bug. But I also think that the fallback might not be as heavy as it was with the game. And I only say that because it's only like the people that claim to be diehards that were really violent about their opinions. And I think that for what's going to happen, the people that are going to get extremely violent over this situation are people that already know it's coming. You know what I'm saying? So it's I think that we're gonna get a lot of people that might say, "Oh, I'm done," or I couldn't watch it," or "I was sick to my stomach." But I feel like as far as hate goes, I'm hoping that it's not gonna be as terrible as it was with part 2 when that dropped. But I don't know, man. It's gonna be really interesting because again, you were there too, like when Glenn got murked. Like that was a game changer too. But again, like I mentioned, this is the character. It's different. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be really interesting. It feels like kind of like a social experiment because like we already know what's happening. And there's a lot of people that like are just it's like, oh, what's gonna happen if we just say take away the best character of the show and see like let's see how these people react. Just like it's gonna be really interesting to see how it does go down.
See, but that's the thing that's weird to me. I think the people that are going to actually go off and lose their minds are the people that have never played the game. Like, if the people that have played the game go that route, it's understandable because it was a lot of trauma. But and for those that have played the game, in my head, it would feel like when they dropped the second Transformers and Optimus Prime died. Like that took me back to the first original Transformers movie, and that had pissed me off. Like I was sitting in the theater the first time watching Revenge of the Fallen, and I said, he better be alive by the time this movie's done. I don't care what it is. If he is still dead by the end of this movie, I'm done with the Transformers series. So for gamers who have played the game, I could understand that kind of perspective. But I think the people that are probably going to react the most and be as ticked off as they're going to be and probably lash out are going to be the people that have never played the game but have invested themselves in this show and have their intense feelings about how great Pedro Pascal is in this role of Joel and how everybody's invested in Joel. I think that's where the real reaction is going to come from.
Yeah,
That's
people are
where
gonna
the
be really
backlash-
traumatized. That's the big thing, man. People are gonna be really messed up.
I know relatives are gonna be like pissed at me that I hooked them on it because they're never gonna play video games.
They're not gonna.
And
They're
it's
never
just
gonna
like-
watch anything else you recommend.
Oh yeah, my wife is definitely not gonna. She's it's gonna be some backlash because
Like, bro, I love this show. It's like the zombie show that deals with the
She's in
people.
love with them as a father-daughter relationship, right? She like my wife in love with certain characters, and she doesn't deal with like on-screen death very well. So,
Bro, you know what would be hilarious, bro? If you did a family round trip for mini golf right before.
no.
That is
Christ,
mixed up.
Spencer.
But I don't know. I kind of agree with Ty. I think that more people aren't gonna know how to feel about it, and I don't know if they can get over it. I think that's the biggest thing, and it's sad because that's what everybody that played the game had to go through. We all had to go through that. We had to choose to continue walking. At a certain point, like I talked to Jor-Els, and Jor-Els was like, "Wait, what the heck is this foolishness?" I can't remember if you had said something along the lines like, "I can't believe that just happened." Like, what are they trying to do? This is a video game. That's what Jor-Els' exact words were. This is a video game. This is not.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I'm still traumatized. To be clear, it is a traumatizing moment. There will be people who stop watching the show. Again, it's a thing where it's like you either honor the game or you don't. They seem in the business of honoring the game. So if they do that, yeah, there will be people who like fall off and blah blah blah. I don't know if it'll be as bad as like The Walking Dead, because at least here, it seems clear that quality storytelling is going to be prevalent throughout the season, whereas like storytelling wise, quality wise, that just dropped off like immediately after the season 7 premiere. So it wasn't exactly just the views, unfortunately, but also literal budget as well is kind of insane. But I don't know. It's a necessary pain.
Maybe we just need to look at it like this. We just need to be there for people to hold them up with our commentary. Like maybe that's our goal in this whole entire series.
You're hoping that people don't get hurt, and there's no way around it, unfortunately.
Sam, do you know what I was doing before we started the first episode? Do you know what I was doing?
No.
I was listening to Johnny Cash's "Hurt."
Jesus Christ, Ronan.
Oh my God, Ronan.
Ronan, you're
To prep myself.
You wanna be hurt, bro.
Self-harm, bro.
Yeah,
That's called
To prep myself.
That's a form of self-harm, bro.
That is
No!
that is self-harm for real.
Listen, Ronan, do not listen to these niggas. I'm telling you, episode 2, get ready, my nigga. Get the draft.
It's Logan all over again. It's
Okay. All right. So look, let's round this off. Ronan, close us out, man.
I really dug this first episode, and I think that if HBO committed to this show, and Craig Mazin commits to this show, and Haley Gross, who also co-wrote the second game and also part of this crew for this one, that like I feel that we are in for a devastating, bleak, beautiful piece of art that just happens to be a show that just happens to be part of involved with a video game. And I think if they do it right, this show and this season will hold test of times. And I just want to give the flowers to the crew who make those sets, who mix the music, the sound. Anybody who's an on-set decorator, or is your job to put fungus on a background person, like, just thank you, muchas gracias, and that we don't take the show for granted, and we don't take your hard work for granted. And but yeah, I dug this episode, and yeah, get ready, y'all. You ain't ready.
You real foul for that. Sam. Oh, is it my turn? Okay, cool. So it's gonna be a wild ride. Let's just call it what it is. We're going to see, man, Sam, forget you.
Enough.
It's going to be a show of epic proportions. People are going to be pissed. People are going to be upset. I'm actually really interested to see how the gamers react and how the non-gamers, the folks that are invested in the show, react. It's whatever the reaction is going to be, it's definitely going to be something that's truly epic. But I think what may balance it out is the fact that the gamers who have gone through it, when folks approach about this thing, they're going to be like, look, this is what happened in the game. We are just as traumatized as you, but look at it from our perspective. We knew it was coming and we still didn't want it. But we know it. We know it's happening. And I'm looking forward to see the dialogue between folks who have never played the game and folks who have played this game and gone through this trauma. So S tier work to all the actors, to all the set folks, to the director, to the producers. They have put their heart, soul, sweat, and tears into this show. I can just tell by the first episode. But I am also, the only thing about it, only caveat is I agree with Joel. I think Bella was an incredible Ellie for season 1, for part 1. Part 2, the actress he mentioned, I think would have been a better fit because Ellie has now grown up a little bit. She's a little different. And although I still love Bella, this feels like everything is part 2, with the exception of Ellie. It feels like part 1 Ellie still. But other than that, S tier show. Can't wait for the rest of the episodes, even though I know I'm going to be in tears at some point.
All right, Jor-El. Closing thoughts.
Yeah, I again, a good to great episode. Probably feeling like a great episode. Kind of feeling like I don't know, like an 8 out of 10. So like I guess like a B or B plus on your guys's letter score. But yeah, no, I agree with Ty. I think they should have done something like with the Crown, where like season 1 was like Bella, and then like season 2 was Kaylee, through the season 3 and 4, whatever the hell they're doing. I think something like that would have made more sense personally, but I guess we'll see how the execution goes. I don't know that by Bella as this like, you know, years later older person, but she's a brilliant performer, so it's a bit of a paradoxical situation. But I don't know. It was a strong opener for sure.
And last but not least, Busy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the same boat. It was a really, really strong opener. I really admire what they're doing because I mean, half the fun of this show is comparing like what happened in the game and what we didn't get. You know, like the new stuff, and it just makes watching it as a fan of the the original stuff, just it makes things more a little like entertaining. And on top of that, the show's already incredibly entertaining, so it's a lot. But but oh geez, bro. But yeah, I mean, I think the next few episodes are gonna be just kind of nuts. This episode was already like fun and a little crazy at times, but realistically, we know there's more horror to come. So I mean, it's gonna be a treat, but it's also gonna be just, I guess, horrific. I don't know, but I mean, again, I'm really impressed with what they've done to make us fans, super invested, even though we know what's going on, And I don't know, it's gonna be a mess, but I'm excited.
Yeah, no, this was amazing. I really truly enjoyed it. I can't believe the execution of how they handled this was done this well. I am dreading where this is going to go. And at the same time, I'm excited to see where it could go. I know that they're perfectionists. Neil, Craig, and team. I think the old cast are devoted to these roles, and we haven't even gotten the full entire cast yet. We haven't even gotten introduced to all the other characters, and based on the trailers, we don't even know who all is going to be in this season. But nonetheless, I'm really excited to see where things are going to come. I do think that I have a prediction that some of the character deaths that were in the game, there are going to be other characters that they've introduced that are not going to make it in the series, and I'll leave that for next episode to talk about. I don't want to say up here, but I think there is more death to come, unfortunately. But we'll talk to you guys later. I hope you guys enjoyed this Bottles and Bricks podcast. Thank you guys that are watching this from Spotify on our audio. Thank you guys that are watching on our YouTube format. We will be opening up the Discord again so we can talk more in candid of things to come. If you guys want to check out distinct reactions, go and check out Ronin Unchained and Busy Braun to get full-on interactive reactions as the episodes will come. And I'm going to turn it over to our main host, Ronin Unchained, to close out.
Yeah, this was fun. I was missing these long talks from last season, and I think folks should be ready for our live streams as well that we're gonna have every Monday following the release of each episode to the best of our abilities, and we're gonna try our best to get new people that you've never seen before on the podcast and some new some recurring guests as well. I think there's an opportunity to grow out the podcast more and let people just share their enthusiasm and their love and connection to this world and these characters, whether it's just from the show, from the games, or from the comic book. So, but as always, folks, thank you so much. Cuídense, and to quote Ellie, to the edge of the universe and back. Endure and survive. Take care, everybody.